Hi, in this video, we will do an example sum for treatment of Workmen's Compensation Reserve. Let's go to the example. Example, X, Y and Z share profits and losses in the ratio of 4:3:2. With effect from 1st April 2019, they decide to share future profits and losses in the ratio of 2:3:4. The following is an extract of the balance sheet as at 31st March 2019. On the liability side, we have Workmen's Compensation Reserve at Rs 90,000. We are asked to show the accounting treatment under the following alternative cases. We have 5 cases given to us and we are asked to give the accounting treatment under each of these 5 cases. Solution. Journal. The date, particulars, LF number, debit rupees and credit rupees. The case 1 says there is no information as to the claim which is given. So we assume that the claim against the reserve is 0 and distribute the reserve of 90,000 among X, Y and Z in their old profit sharing ratio, which is 4:3:2. So the date 1st April 2019, we are doing case 1. Workmen Compensation Reserve. Account debit to X capital account to Y capital account to Z capital account. The amount of reserve 90,000 rupees will be distributed in 4:3:2. So it amounts to 40,000 against X, 30,000 against Y and 20,000 against Z, being Workmen's Compensation Reserve distributed amongst partners in old profit sharing ratio. So in this particular case, there will be no claim which is shown in the liability side of the reconstituted balance sheet, and since the reserve has already been distributed, the reserve will also not appear on the liability side of the balance sheet. Let's go to case 2. Case 2. The case 2 says there is no claim. So the entry is the same as case 1. The date 1st April 2019. We'll debit Workmen Compensation Reserve. To X capital account to Y capital account to Z capital account. $90,000 reserve, 40,000 against X, 30,000 against Y, and 20,000 against Z, being Workmen's Compensation Reserve distributed amongst partners in old profit sharing ratio. So this is case 2, the same as case 1, where there is no claim. And again in case 2, there won't be any claim shown on the liability side of the reconstituted balance sheet, nor will the Workmen Compensation Reserve appear. Let's go to case 3. Case 3. The case 3 says that the claim on account of workmen compensation is rupees 45,000. So let's see how we'll deal with this. The date again 1st April 2019. We'll debit the Workmen Compensation Reserve. With 90,000. Out of this, the Workmen Compensation claim will be 45,000, and the remaining 45,000 rupees will be transferred to X, Y and Z in their OPSR. The remaining 45,000 will be in 4:3:2. So X gets 20,000, Y gets 15,000 and Z gets 10,000, being transfer to claim and balance distributed amongst partners in old profit sharing ratio. So now in the reconstituted balance sheet, the workman's compensation claim will appear at 45,000 in the liability side and reserve will no longer appear. Let's go to case 4. Case 4 says that the claim on account of workman's compensation is 99,000. Now we have a reserve only to the extent of 90,000, but the claim has exceeded the amount of the reserve by 9,000 rupees. So the extra or excess claim will be debited to the revaluation account and the loss on revaluation will be transferred to partner's capital account in old profit sharing ratio. So let's do that. Workmen Compensation Reserve account debit To the extent of 90,000, we'll debit the reserve. The balance 9,000, we'll take it by debiting the revaluation account. Because revaluation account should be debited if there is an increase in liability, which you will learn later when we do revaluation of assets and reassessment of liabilities. And we'll create the claim to Workmen Compensation Claim Account 99,000 being claim created. Now on debiting this revaluation account with 9,000, it results in a loss on revaluation which needs to be transferred to partners' capital accounts in old profit sharing ratio. So we'll do that next. Same date, 1st April 2019, X capital account debit, Y capital account debit, Z capital account debit, to revaluation account. The loss on revaluation, 9,000 rupees, will be divided in OPSR 4:3:2. So X is debited with 4,000, Y is debited with 3,000 rupees, and Z is debited with 2,000 rupees, being loss transferred to partners' capital accounts in OPSR. So this is a treatment for case 4 when the amount of the claim is greater than the amount of the reserve. The difference has to be debited to revaluation account, and the loss on revaluation should be transferred to the partners' capital accounts in old profit sharing ratio. And in this case, the claim will appear in the liability side of the reconstituted balance sheet at rupees 99,000, and the reserve will not appear. Let's go to case 5. Case 5 says when the claim on account of workmen's compensation is 90,000 rupees. The date 1st April 2019. The entire reserve 90,000 will be transferred into claim. So the 90,000 of the reserve will be taken as claim, being workmen's compensation claim created. And in this case, the reserve will not appear in the liability side of the reconstituted balance sheet. Instead, the workmen compensation claim will appear as 90,000 in the liability side of the reconstituted balance sheet. So in this sum, we saw the different cases of the claim being equal to the reserve amount, greater than or less than, or claim equal to 0, and how to treat the reserve, the workmen compensation reserve, in such a case.